wait, let's talk a little bit. Let's give Joe some love first because we've been talking about him. We've been waiting, and he was all paranoid. He said he was hiding. He thought we were going to dog him, and we gave him nothing but props. So one, let's at least give it to him now, right? We did talk very highly about the Jet. Let's talk about before we get a little bit more of the season, if that's okay with you, Byron. We spoke about how well they've been raving about how the Jets did in the draft.
Top
right?
dogs.
Right? Byron? And so we want to, two things I wanted to say, and I want you to get some feedback, and then Andre, but me and Byron, we did mention you, and we're like, where is Joe Capraro? We're finally talking something good about the Jets. The sad part is, I'll tell you the sad part afterwards. One, and then number two, thanks for enlightening me about the next LT, and I end up getting him. So this was a great draft for me as the Giants. So let's see what happens. Joe, Mr. Capraro, take it from there. Tell me about your thoughts on the draft pick and your celebration of the year.
I'm happy with the Jets' overall haul. I think they did a really good job with the back end. Honestly, the first four players they got, everyone's really excited about Gardner. I think he's probably a little overrated. He's going to be a solid starter, but I'm not counting on him to be a star. Wilson, I mean, there were 7 other receivers that are just as good in the draft. They could have gotten one further back. Jermaine Johnson, great pick for that spot. It was a fantastic move. Then they kind of reached for a running back at the top of round 2. The back 3 picks were all good. The Mitchell, the tackle they got in the 4th round, love him. Clemens could be a starter at defensive end. They got him in the 4th round. And that was it for their draft. I'm happy with it overall. I think the top end was a little overrated. But as you guys know, the player I loved most in this draft and the guy I think is going to be the best player of his generation went to you guys at pick 5. Beyond that, Evan Neal, again, great pick. They got the best player and the 4th best player in the draft at 5 and 7. But beyond that, I'm not really excited about anybody else the Giants picked up. But I'm excited enough about Thibodeau that if I were either of you guys, I'd be so thrilled, man. That guy, he's going to be a monster. And just what he's done so far with the donation that he made to this charity, forgetting Gano's number.
Hey, I got to stop you right there. It is typical. We finally give the limelight to a Jets fan, and he starts talking about the Giants, Byron.
Here's the thing. You can't ever be optimistic as a Jet fan because it's going to end up in the toilet. So until it happens, until they show me 14-3, that's how I'm going to react to anything the Jets do, no matter how good everybody else thinks it is.
I am just sharing my observation. Byron, you got any comments on that?
Daryl said the same thing.
Right? We gave him nothing but props.
We were nothing but love, nothing but Giant love.
And it flips over to the praise of the Giants.
Never dogged them. I was like, man, the Jets are great. That was like an A draft. They were wonderful. That's all we said.
You said, see, now I would give the Giants an A+, and I'd give the Jets a B+. Again, I think
nobody ranked it that way. Wait a second. We're gonna let me stop you there. Andre, what do you think about that comment? Because that's a little bit different from everybody, pretty much. And he's a Jet fan.
I'm a little different too, so
I think he's downplaying it as
he outranked the Giants better picking than the Jets.
You see, I'm sorry, I disagree. The Jets just on clear potential, even that 4th round pick. Goodness gracious! I mean, seriously, they didn't miss. They didn't miss. They had, in years where the Jet fans have been hurting for just the right picks, or at least somewhat paper making sense, because there's been picks that you guys never make sense. And here you are.
I know.
Here you are, 2 + 2 actually equals 4. No, man, that's an A+. I'm sorry. That was an A+. I say that the Giants hit an A-, if not an A solid, but the Jets really A+ on paper. Right now on paper, it doesn't.
All right, hold on. I'll come to you, Joe. Hold on a second. Byron?
What? I'm excited. excited, man. We gave the Jets props. That's all I want to say. We gave the Jets props, and then we got this guy. He comes here and he's bashing the Jets. Oh my God. That was a great draft for them. Great. He comes on here and he's killing them.
I'm not bashing him. I'm not bashing him.
He texts me thinking we were gonna berate, like get all over him. And I'm like, dude, we gave you nothing but love for 2
Nothing but love
in a row.
Here's the thing. I'm not bashing them. I think they did a nice job. But when you look at we just look at the 7 players that they got, and you look at that as their whole draft, it's really impressive. It's like looking at your fantasy team on draft night, right? But here's the thing. They had 7 picks in the first 4 rounds. All 7 of those picks were in the top, almost all of them were in the top half of the draft. When you look at every other team's draft, they're spread through 7 rounds. So their players are going to look better in comparison to everybody else. When you look at, if you're judging the overall haul that they got, yes, they got more overall talent than just about any other team in the league. But when you look at where all those picks were made, a couple of reaches that they made, and the fact that they passed up the best player of his generation to take a cornerback that's going to be good.
Guys who
but
passed up Micaiah Parsons, right?
No.
Okay.
They passed on Thibodeau to take Gardner. That's the one.
Like last year, Parsons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Giants that did that. Don't break that.
That one. And remember last year, I'll never be in a restaurant again for draft day. That's it. I was done.
To be honest with you, I liken the Jets this year as a lot like Jimmy Johnson's first year as the coach of the Dolphins. Think about that draft. Think back towards that.
My wife.
Think about that draft. He picked up Zach Thomas. He picked up a kid from Akron by the name of Jason Taylor. He picked up 5 guys that ended up lasting in the league 8 and 9 years in some cases. And at the end of the day, I think, maybe in your opinion, that guy was the greatest player available at that pick, but maybe he just doesn't fit the scheme, or maybe he just wasn't what he looked like. Maybe when he interviewed or took the Wonderlic, there was something missing, because there's a reason why he was still on the board at that pick.
Who's that?
Well, I've said this from minute one, for weeks before the draft, that he was the best player in it, and that I would have taken him with the first pick. I think teams shied away from him because of this fear of that he. And I hate this. It sounds like an old man complaint that he cares too much about his brand. Well, he's a 20-year-old kid in 2022. He better care about his brand, because the league isn't going to care about him. The league's going to spit him out in 3 years if they can. It's up to these young players to take care of that stuff themselves. And if that's the only thing you can say bad about the kid, then that's not a reason to pass on him. And 4 teams are going to look really stupid in a couple of years.
Well, I don't know.
Let me
I don't know.
Let me go back to Joe. Joe, it wasn't about that you were dogging the picks of the Jets. It was just funny how the conversation as about talking just about the picks switched over to how great the Giants picks were. That's where I was really pulling out the comedy was that I froze. The comedy was in that for me. Okay. So let's move on to that.
I want you to know that I want the audience to know that was not a plant that just happened. That came out of my mouth. It came out of my brain.
Too late.
Typical of a Jet fan. I mean, I'm just saying to you, number one. Okay. Number two, let's get into the fact that, and Andre, I'm glad that you're here. Because Byron and I talked about this. Byron, remember we were talking about, they talk so much about how great, in this case, say the Jets, even the Giants or whatever, but how great these guys did in the drafts and this and that. Awesome. Celebrate that time. But at the end of the day, when I asked Byron, where are the Jets going to finish in the AFC East? He said 4th.
Yeah.
So it's like, have your party for the day, but at the end of the day, it's still going to take you a few years, hopefully,
right,
to get there.
Exactly.
Number one. And it's they make so much of the draft pick, right? I think the Giants did well because of we got what I wanted. I mean, for Thibodeau won, and then we got an offensive tackle that's phenomenal. Right?
Great
picked up more.
yeah.
We got nice balance in our drafts all the way through, because Byron went all the way through.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk, every Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The Sportscast.